All right. What's going on, everybody out there in the podosphere and the internet? What is going on? Welcome to our season finale of season 2 of the Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters podcast. So, we're joined by a couple special guests tonight, but let me pull on my co host right now. Michelle,
Hello, everyone.
what is going on?
Nothing much. Getting ready for a fun-filled discussion tonight.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. So let me get these names turned on and everything. There we go. All right. So, yeah, we're just going to have a discussion about the last year or so, what's been going on in the world of UFOs and the paranormal and all that fun stuff. So, I see we've got a few people watching. So, welcome everybody. Hopefully, you enjoy the live stream. And a couple things I just want to talk about a little bit is one of them is that this will be our last live stream until January, probably about the middle of January at this point. Same thing with the podcast, the audio podcast. So,
we're going to take our own Christmas break.
Yeah, we usually take Christmas break with the kids and chill out for a little bit because it can get a little bit too much dealing with a lot of things, especially with a live stream now. So, all right, Michelle, what's anything kicking out there on chat and people watching?
Nothing
kind of
yet.
Quiet right now.
So,
yeah, a little quiet. I know there's a lot of live streams going on with podcasters right now, getting ready for Christmas and kind of doing the same thing. We are gonna take a break and for a couple weeks and chill out.
Drink more coffee.
Drink more coffee. Yes, everybody take a drink of coffee. All right. Mm-hmm. There we go. You got to have your coffee. So I guess, Michelle, you need to tell everybody like what kind of podcast this is.
This is the only podcast that goes down the rabbit hole on an escalator.
Oh, man. You nailed it. And I'm messing it up. Here we go. Wait a minute. Oh, there's the escalator.
Look at me. There I am. Suitcase in hand.
Yeah.
And I grew my hair out.
Yeah, your hair's a lot longer. And wow. Wait a minute. Let's see that one more time. Hold on. Man, those stairs look nasty.
Oh yeah, that girl's ready to travel.
Oh yeah, look at her. She's fired up. Man, she's probably heading to a casino or something.
She's my spirit human.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, there she goes again. There.
It's her twin.
Yeah, okay.
Hi Rick, how are you tonight?
Hey, yeah, we got
joined
Rick
us
in the live chat. So, hey Rick, how's it going? Rick Davis. Thanks for joining us, man. All right, I guess that's enough of that. We should just kind of turn.
I know
that
he's
off,
like teasing me with that suitcase.
I know, it's like I'm ready for a vacation. You're ready for a vacation. Would love to get to someplace warm.
Yeah, we're still a few months
with
out.
some sun. Because in Michigan, this sucks, man. And man, that's one of the things we're gonna talk about with some of our buddies here in a minute. We're gonna bring on the other two amigos, so we've got 3 amigos and 1 amiga. So it'll be our normal round table group here. Yeah. All right. So first of all, let's bring on the old man, the curmudgeon, who wants to get everybody off of his lawn, including the UFOs and the little gray aliens that are zipping around and causing problems, or are those raccoons? I don't know. Let's see. Guy.
Welcome, people of Earth.
All right, Guy, how's everything going, man?
Oh, I told you before we went on air in the green room, I was going to take this little half-hour nap after dinner and slept for like 2 hours. So if I'm tangential and don't make a lot of sense, I'll probably work up to a normal rate of heartbeat before this thing is totally over.
So, well, you know what, man? That's how we are all the time. So it don't really matter.
I was out, man. I was out. Linda said, when we do the podcast like this, you message me on Messenger. You say, hey, you guys ready? And when I finally woke up, she said, hey, your computer's been going crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
That would be our next co-host fault, because that would be Burton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think he had sent a couple of messages and it was dinging and
Yeah. I
Yes.
don't know. Burton, were you worried that I forgot to send you the code
Oh.
to get into StreamYard? Or
No, I was sitting out there getting ready, so I was just like gearing up for it. I was making all the posts on all the social medias and everything. So I was
yeah, I
just
saw that.
amping
So that's
up.
awesome. Getting it out there. So
Yes.
cool, man. So what's been going on with you?
Honestly, much the opposite. The last, I don't know, 20 or so hours for me have been pretty crazy. I actually went down to Detroit last night to see a band. I'm not sure if you are a fan of them, Wayne, but you might be. I went and saw the Cro-Mags last night.
Oh God, man, that's old school.
Yeah, real old school. They were fantastic. They were absolutely killer. That was a great show. And then I came back to Lansing and then had to go down to Ann Arbor very early this morning because my sister graduated from U of M with her master's degree in social work.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I got to go see that today. That was really cool. Yeah. So shout out to my sister Katie. If she's
Yeah,
watching.
shout out. Congratulations, Katie.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of pictures on Facebook today. Coworkers and friends of mine getting
Yeah.
all their master's degrees.
Well, it's that time. It's the end of the
Yep.
semester, and that's kind of where we're at with school.
Man, I remember those days.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
Now I got to deal with the high school semester, the end of semester one, and the kids getting ready to take their midterms and all that good stuff. So,
Mhm.
and I don't know, Michelle, middle school, are you guys doing like midterm exams and things, or do
No, not
you just
not
kind of
from
hand
my-
wave them on to the high school?
No, this is called survival week. So after getting through growth measure testing, and this week we're going back into the 1943 screenplay from Lucille Fletcher. Sorry, wrong number. Got to go. Little murder mystery on him from the 1940s.
cool.
That's cool.
Cool. Yeah. So one of the things I want to do real quick is I want to do a share screen here, and I want to just show everybody, if you're interested in helping support the podcast, whether it's the live stream or, our normal podcast, you can do that. I'm going to show you if you want to buy merchandise. So right there, this is our website here, and you can find this store. It is www.myufopodcaststore. That's all one word up there, and .online, and that's all you have to type in, and that'll get you to our merchandise store. And you can see we've got t-shirts now with a little left breast pocket design, and then on the back it has the driver, who we call driver, our little alien dude right there, right? And then we've got the design kind of flip-flopped, where we put driver on the front on the left breast pocket, and then we got the UFO over in hitting Guy's house there in Flint with a laser beam. So yeah.
Some shameless advertising, Wayne.
Well, I know sometimes people get confused when we put things out there on the out there in like the audio podcast. It's kind of hard to hear it and follow along, but we got hoodies, we got zip up hoodies with the same kind of design. That was kind of our thing for season 2, was doing like a front and a back tank tops and doing that design. Of course, it jacked up the price on top of the price of everything else just going up normally. So we try to keep it as little as possible.
That's like a local trip to the grocery store. I walk out spending $120 or more dollars. I'm like, what did I buy?
Yeah, when you can carry everything in 2 shopping bags and you spend $120, it's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, so if anybody's interested in supporting the podcast, all that money goes to like funding me and Michelle going on any kind of expeditions, or going to, not expeditions, but what am I trying to say?
Conferences.
Like conferences and things like that. We just put that money aside because there is one coming up here that I'm going to be going to in June, and I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. What's up, Burton?
Who did that wonderful artwork for you again?
Oh, that was my middle child, Abby. Abigail, named
so
after the
cool.
King Diamond album, of course.
No way. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's so metal, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
should-
yeah.
You should use that money to go to the casino, and then maybe you could pay for the groceries.
Dude, if you're using money from something
No,
like
no.
this to try
I
to
live
Go to
in
the casino. You're not going to be there long. We might be there 30
I had
minutes.
my own room for 6 months at the Dunes Casino, right downtown Las Vegas. I had 2 king size beds. We were the house band at the Dunes Casino, and I took gambling lessons. We called it Lost Wages Nevada. I don't even buy lottery tickets, man. Really, I don't. I haven't bought a lottery ticket in like 35 years. So
that bad, huh?
But you're a house band in a Vegas casino. That has.
yeah, it was neat. It was a lot of. I mean, it was fun. At the time, it was it was living large, and I'd be playing poker, and I remember who was the guy that was the star in Psycho? Tony Perkins, was that his name?
Oh God.
You'd
Anthony
see all
Perkins,
these-
yeah.
All these
Yeah,
people
yeah.
be walking by while you're playing cards, and I'd play poker so long I'd have sugar attacks, and I'd call my then wife on the house phone and tell her to bring me a cheese sandwich. I mean, I became a guy that once in a blue moon played the piano and was a poker player, and it didn't work out that well. So
There was a time my youngest brother actually got banned from Las Vegas for it was a number of years, but he used to play poker with Telly Savalas.
wow, yeah, well, yeah, you meet people like that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he would end up on the poker table with Telly Savalas a few times. But yeah, he used to do pretty well. And one point I don't know if they accused him of counting cards or what it was, but he was banned from the Strip for a while.
I almost got us fired. It was a kind of a country pop show thing, and we had this absolutely monstrously good fiddle player. He was a savant. He was 16, looked about 20. He went on to work with George Jones and George Strait and every big major country artist there was. And he kept bugging me. He lived right there in Las Vegas. He wanted to go play poker. This is a funny story. Nothing to do with UFOs. This would be a great story if he got abducted by aliens at the end, but it doesn't happen. But he would bother me all the time. Guy, take me. He was from Texas originally. I want to play poker. And I think in Vegas, you think of it, it's a pretty big town, basically. Finally, I said, all right, Vance, I'll take you down there, but you're 16, man. Keep a low profile. Don't do anything stupid. And he was a nice kid. I mean, I ended up hooking up with him later, but as a friend. But anyway, to take him down there to play poker into the poker room, and they all know me, right? And we're playing poker, and we've been playing for like 20 minutes, and he leans over and he goes, Guy, that dealer, he's my shop teacher. And I was like, oh no. I get a call about 8:00 in the morning from my boss, Roy Claiborne, who's it's kind of a big star in Vegas, the guy I work for. He's Hoss, what the hell are you doing? We're about to get fired. And I mean, I got my butt chewed out. Like, we almost got fired because, that dude went and told them, hey, Mr. Merritt down there from the Oasis Lounge is bringing one of my students in here to play poker. It was bad, man.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
like I said.
That's wild.
And then he got abducted by aliens and probed. And, no, none of that happened. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's the end of the year. I'm tired. What can I tell you?
Could have turned out like Vegas Vacation, where he started dropping coins and winning cars.
I didn't. You know what? I love those vacations. I don't think I've ever seen that one, and I like.
Oh, Vegas Vacation is one of my
I'll have to
favorite
watch
ones.
that. I'll have to watch that. I like the one where they drive across the country and grandma's dead on the roof and. What's that one?
which one is that?
I think it's a Christmas vacation.
Was it?
No, that's not Christmas
no.
Vacation.
They're going to Wally World.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Those
a
are just
Summer,
That's the-
summer vacation.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
it's just the first. It's just
Oh,
the
it's
first
just
one.
vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's so intent upon getting there that grandma dies and he just ties her to the roof of the car. It's crazy.
No, the Christmas Vacation is the one with the tree on top of the car, and they end up, launching it.
Yeah, that's what I saw that. I saw that one too. Yeah, they're fun movies.
So speaking of conferences and dead grandmas, but let's,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think you're going to see a dead grandma at the conference you're going to.
This is going to be really popular, a really popular video among people that go to Gamblers Anonymous. I don't know what we're talking about here, man.
well, one of the things we're talking about is this right here. So I ended up getting my ticket and all set up to go on
It's very cool.
to this right here. It's the Cosmic Summit 2023. It's in June, from June 16th through the 18th in 2023. It's going to be at the Crown Plaza Resort in Asheville, North Carolina. And here are your 4 big headliners, one of which we've already had on the podcast, and that's Johanna James. She's a pretty awesome, nice young lady. Very into the Atlantis ancient technology stuff. And so she's learning and getting into it, been to Egypt a couple times doing her own videos. And she brings, that comedic flavor to it. She's a comedic actress from the UK. So, she kind of brings that to it. And then obviously we got Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock, and then Jimmy Corsetti will be there as well. And then if we scroll down here a little bit, we've got a lot more people that are going to be there, actually.
Yeah.
We've got Micah Hanks that's going to be there. Ben Van Kerkwick, which we've had on the podcast. We had him on right before Johanna, didn't we?
Yeah. And then Matt Lohmeyer,
We
we've
had
had him on the show.
And then Russ Allen from the Snake Bros, the Brothers of the Serpent podcast. So him and his brother Kyle have been on.
Hopefully they're stocked with wine when they come too. Bring some of their own.
Yeah. And then these guys here, I think most of these guys that you see here are from the, they're working on the, what do I want to say? The younger, driest impact theory. So, I think most of them are part of that. So, hopefully going to be learning more about them, and you can find all their videos on this page and things like that. The Joe Rogan Experience. And
yeah, this was called
stuff.
the Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, Happy Father's Day gift to Wayne.
Yeah, it's all my gifts in like one hit.
Seriously, in like one nutshell, it was like it's covering a few.
Yeah.
I guess the rest of us can buy him some socks and underwear.
Be struggling. It's a struggle out there.
Some Michigan UFO t-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to pick up a couple to take down there to hand to Johanna and Randall and Graham and stuff. So
that's
Put
going to be
the
a
pressure
really
on
good-
with Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock to come on the show.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was told by Russ when we had the Snake Brothers on the podcast, and I talked to Russ. He said, Randall wants to come on your podcast. He said he would come on. I've talked to him I've sent him like 7 emails, and I don't know if they're not, because he gave me his email address. I don't know if they're just going
Right.
into spam or
Right. You never know.
he's really busy anyways.
Yeah, you never
So
know.
But
You know, you
FaceTime
never
is a
know.
different thing.
yeah,
And I
but
think
now
you're
I'm going to
a-
have him.
Yeah, exactly. And
In the
I
same
think-
room.
I think exactly like you're gonna have a really great time with that, because that's number one thing from doing Lost in the Dark podcast. The other one, when you have someone on the show, and then like for that show, it's usually I end up going to see them perform live. You know what I mean? And then you get to be, but when you're in the same room as them and you get to finally meet them in person and everything, it's like a totally different. It's like you're already friends. It's like you're going there to meet up with your friends that you've already talked to for a long time, and it's a really cool experience to get to do that. So I think you're gonna have a blast, man. That's gonna be great.
Yeah,
Should definitely take a video camera and film as much as you can or something.
They've got like a barbecue one of the days and everything to socialize. Yeah, so it's like I'm
great.
flying him out on Friday, and he can fly back on Monday.
Yep.
That way, take advantage of all of it.
And it's
Yeah.
right
Oh,
at the end of
totally.
the school year too.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I've never
perfect.
been to one of these, I've had these odd experiences, and I didn't even know anything about, I didn't know of any groups. I made some YouTube videos to try to find more witnesses and stuff. But I didn't know of any groups. Didn't follow these conferences. Never been to one. Nobody's ever called me and said, "Guy, would you like to come speak?" I mean, because they're not insane, But
well, you don't have a book yet, man.
No. I was going to say, no, I told Linda, I said, before this started, I said, everybody's got that's on there. They have a book. And so I was going to I want to tell you guys seriously about my latest book. It's right here. I have to have it back to the library by Wednesday, or it's 85 cents a day. That was my latest book. And, it's going to be overdue on Wednesday.
Oh, Lord.
I can't even write a grocery list.
But nowadays, traditionally, yes, like you had to have a book or a TV show to be in one of these, to ask to become to one of these conferences, or to be on something like Coast to Coast AM or something like that. But now it's a YouTube channel or a podcast, or something anybody can really do. The community has gotten so much larger because of that.
Legacy media is dying, if not already dead. It just doesn't know it yet.
Yes,
I hope so.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
They've been, as far as I'm concerned, man, they've been gaslighting people for 50 years on the news and everything else.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I can't stand it.
They just lie a lot. I mean, they do.
Yep.
I mean, we never do politics at all on here, and I'm not going to get political, but I'm not a Trump guy, but he's right about the news. I mean, about it being fake. It's just, I've said to Linda, whether or not I support him is irrelevant. I mean, that is perhaps uncomfortably for some people. I mean, he's right about that. They lie about, supposedly Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK, and I didn't believe it when I was 11. When I was 11, I went, this smells really, really funny.
Yeah.
And I was 11. And now, with all the stuff that's out there, there's an avalanche of evidence. Well, the 1978 Senate Special House Committee on Assassinations, which was after the Warren Commission report, arrived at the conclusion that there was a 95% or better chance that JFK was killed as a consequence of a conspiracy. And people kind of forget that. And just yesterday, MSNBC had a bunch of videos about these people that they released a bunch of new JFK documents, and these people were screaming that if only they would have released this stuff, we could have shown that it was Oswald. This shows it was. I mean, they're still saying the same stuff, and I'm like, you guys are still lying to me, And it's like I can't listen to like CNN and MSNBC or even. I just listen to like independent news, So.
Yep.
Yeah.
I grew up in a household where CNN was on loop.
Well, I used to, I got to confess, it's just like I'm going to confession if I was Catholic or something. I used to watch CNN somewhat, and then I started, I think my consciousness was a little bit raised. Then I started kind of seeing, this is a setup, and you guys are trying to get me mad about, you're trying to get me mad at these guys so these guys can get mad at me, and yada. It's kabuki theater. It's like, it's theater. It's not really news, in my opinion. And I know people are dying to hear my opinion on, morality, the nature of the world. This is why people tune in, because they know that I'm an oracle of truth. And, I just don't trust those outfits. I like independent news, independent media.
Well, Guy, you've got Rick saying that he trusts you and your story more since you've not written a book.
Yeah, well, I mean, seriously, this stuff happened to me, and it really kind of screwed me up. It's so shocking, and I never was in it to make a nickel. I mean, I joke about it with you guys. I've joked previously. So far, I'm in the hole, $26 for a T-shirt. I mean, but I like the T-shirt. It's a very high quality T-shirt.
Really good T-shirt. I have two of them. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks. I didn't get ripped off. I would recommend them.
Yeah.
And there you go. There you go. He's got his. I almost wore mine tonight because I keep it. It was so.
It helps set the
so
mood.
high quality and pricey. I don't want to wreck it. So and I paint all the time, and And so I've got it in the closet. I never wore it. I almost wore it tonight, but no, I've thought about it. I'm like, what do people think is in these stories for anybody? I mean, like I was daydreaming today, thinking, why would before this happened to me, I'd hear people tell stories now and then, just inadvertently. My grandma bought the National Enquirer, and I remember reading the story about Betty and Barney Hill when I was 12. And look.
Mhm.
And I went, it's so bizarre. I went to Linda's house, my wife's house. They lived next door. When I was 12, I went over there and there you go. What's that? Fact, Fiction, and Flying
This
Saucers.
is the book I got just recently from Kathleen Martin. Speaking of
Wow.
Betty and Barney
Betty
Hill.
and Barney Hill. Yeah, this
So
was
the
her
niece.
book that she wrote with Stanton
Yep.
Friedman. And check
Yeah.
this out. This is cool because, Stanton Friedman had passed away. But
But he signed them.
he signed
Oh,
signed
wow.
plates. So I got both of their signatures.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Yes, I was very happy to get that. So I got a lot of reading
I'll
to do.
tell you a wild one. I sent an email years and years ago. There's a guy named Jeff Rentz. He's
Oh, yeah.
I think the guy's okay. He's kind of politically polarizing, but like 20 years ago, I sent the guy an email and just told him, I mean, in like 2 sentences, that I liked his show, told him what happened to me. And he said, would you like to come on the show? And I was like, I was nervous as hell, man. I was like, well, I guess. And so I went on there and I was on a what do you call it? Like a party lot like this, but not with video. And it was me, Jeff Rentz, and Stanton Friedman.
Nice.
Wow.
That was, yeah, for real. I was stunned because he didn't tell me he was going to be, and he was asking me questions, Stanton Friedman. It was bizarre,
Cool.
but I guess that was my big claim to fame till I met Wayne and Michelle. And then now
Now you're famous.
now if I could just borrow money from you guys, I'd really be famous. No, I'm kidding. No, I just never tried to make any. I just told people this stuff because I'm like, I think people need to know this, and I'm tired of the BS. The lying about it because, someday, maybe tonight, this is long. I'll shut up, but I've got a couple of stories that, because I've been open about it. I've got 2 friends in particular that have come to me and told me just crazy UFO stories, crazy.
Sure.
And these people, by chance, are both very conservative politically and evangelicals. And I've known them for like 35 and 40 years. And there's no way these people would make this up. But because I'm honest about it, they've told me these stories. I was stunned when I heard them, And I mean, we're talking UFOs like up close. One, I really think this guy was abducted. And they're just crazy stories. But I just think it's important that we talk about it and tell the truth. And as far as making money, I think money I don't mean for you guys to sell T-shirts and that stuff, and but I mean, the people that do this kind of for a living, day in, and even Linda Moulton Howe, God bless her, and I think she's terrific in a lot of ways. I got a buddy that's had a lot of experiences. I mean, he's seen a lot of UFOs. He's got pictures of them. And he doesn't trust her because she's so into the money part of it. And
Yep.
I think she's, I feel like she's done a lot of good work. I don't, but it does, for some people, it calls into question a person's motives. If they're, always trying to make money. And I never tried to make any money. I just thought people better know this stuff, or you don't want to learn this. Yeah, I think there'd be like a societal psychosis. I told you I just woke up.
Yeah.
If everybody learned this too suddenly. That's my big freak out, is like, this stuff is real, man. I've seen it,
Well, just real quick, we got Barry joining us now. So, hey, Barry, welcome. And we had Ian show up. So thanks, Ian Armstrong, for showing up. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us. And Barry, you're never late. You show up on time, exactly when you're supposed to show up. So
always here.
We're just starting to dip into our little conversation about things and talking. So, Burton, what's going on, man?
I actually really like what Rick said. because that was a thought that I had. I remember being, I can't remember how old I was, maybe like 13, 14, 15 years old, something like that, somewhere like, and listening to like Coast to Coast AM. I was a fan at the time. And I think I was, yeah, somewhere around there. And I remember thinking at one point in time, like every single person coming on here is kind of not saying this in a bad way or anything like that, but they're kind of like hawking something. They're trying to sell some. Everybody has something to sell, and I was like, where's the people that don't have any? Where's the people with just the stories?
Exactly.
So and you know, and on some level though, if you're an experiencer and something extraordinary happened to you and you write about it and that's your way into the community to connect with more people and do it in a positive way, that's one thing. But like, yeah, like I just started noticing at one point in time, everybody has this is every single one is an advertisement. Every single one is advertising something, and it kind of started to rub me the wrong way after a little while.
Yeah.
So I really like what Rick said. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah, that is a good point.
And I think there's a lot of benefit in things like podcasts now, where like, I do the podcast. I've never made a dime off any of it. So, and I'm fine with that. I don't care. That's not why I do it. So it's a little, I feel like this medium at least could be interpreted as a little bit more honest in that context.
No, that's a great analysis, and I think obviously you're right. I mean, it's not tainted by. Nobody can look at a guy like you or me and say, well, they're doing it for one big thing that people have got is it's money or it's attention. Like anybody needs attention,
right?
And my friends got abducted by aliens, and I was under the ship, and a blue light. I know, no, this makes you sound schizophrenic. You're painting a target on your back. But a big thing is money, and you're right. I mean, it's a little more believable, and people can, I hope, can take it a bit more seriously when they realize, well, he's not they're not making money at this.
Yeah. Well, let's look at what Barry's saying here, because I really like this, and or Rick and then Barry. So check this out. So Rick says, and we are the ones that most people will not believe. If you write about little green men, you can make a fortune.
See, but Wayne has also talked to me about writing kids' books. And if I wrote a kid's book, I would actually write one about our character Driver.
Yeah.
And actually include our experience. So I'll just start young.
Great. That would
I'll just start with the young crowd.
That will sell. That will sell.
Okay. We have been moving through the technology age here, like at the speed of light. I mean, it's crazy about the stuff that we can do in like VR and things like that. And then the internet and all of that. Printed paper and printed books are going the way of the dodo bird. And like Barry says here, 20 years ago, the book was the only way to communicate. And then he says here, which is really cool, and usually a book can be more thorough than just a lecture or a short story. Absolutely, because you can get into the details, because what do people want nowadays, and what are people basically being conditioned for, with all the way to fast food and things like that 30-second hit that, and a book doesn't fulfill that. So yeah, so I just wanted to point that out. What's up, Burton?
But that but then isn't it weird though? Like that is, you're very right about that. That is 100% true. But it is strange that while that is happening, during all of that, all this time, 3-hour-long podcasts are more popular, like are very popular things.
Yes, they are.
So there is this weird in audiobooks, like so many people, if they read a book, it's a lot of time it's on an audiobook now, which is fine. But like there is that weird thing of most of the time we want the information in a quick hit, but there's another part of us that loves the long format.
Yeah. And one of the things about that is, I think kind of what Barry is saying here again, he's got a lot of good points. He says also a book you can do on your own time. It's nice to take a book up to the cabin. Now, With that being said, even though like we're doing this show right now, we just basically started these live streams. These are brand new. And it says there's 7 or 10 people coming and going and watching. But then I put it out on the out in the ether, right? On the internet. And it'll be 300, 400 listens and watches, after we're done.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's within the first couple days we usually get that. So I think there's something to it. I mean, you can listen to an audiobook when you want to listen to it or doing other things. So it's really bizarre, but it seems like people want to make those emotional snap decisions based on like the flashy headlines of the day, and it drives me crazy because people then come, to an argument, like something like UFOs and things, and they don't know all the details. They just know what they saw. Oh, did you see about those 3 UFO videos from the Navy? Yeah.
Right,
Do you know what they were called?
I mean, that's just the new, Roswell, the new Area 51. That footage is just that new thing that everybody, the newest one that everybody can point to, that everybody knows. Yeah. It got so huge, Yeah. But hey, it did bring more attention and maybe a few more people to take it more seriously at the very least.
Although, like Wayne has pointed out, it's kind of like now they're trying to stuff that genie back in the bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, what is this?
Actually,
I'm like, come on, when are you people, something that when you said, hey, do you want to come on? And I thought, what are we going to talk about? Something that I was listening to you and Kathleen Martin, and you guys agreed upon something that I thought was kind of, you guys, I sort of feel like a lot of these people, and Kathleen's a lovely person. She's a great gal. But I feel like they kind of live in sort of an echo chamber in the following sense. She said, I'm paraphrasing wildly, but she was talking about disclosure generally. And she was saying, well, look around it. And you agreed, people didn't even pay attention. They don't care. And I'm like,
yeah,
I think they kind of tune it out so to maintain their emotional well-being. And I think it would be much worse than you guys were kind of agreeing that it would be if everybody just found this out tomorrow. I mean, that portion of that interview, I was like, nah, man, I don't think I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying for me, I don't think it's like that. I don't think, people's heads did not explode because most people, when I've approached people I know and kind of brought this up and told them a little bit, there's this mechanism we've got kind of built in. It's almost hardwired. And I was listening to somebody talk about, some anthropologists talk about ape species, and we're sort of wired to hang on to old belief systems. He explained it in a scientific way that I can't repeat, but people kind of tune it out. I mean, if people really saw what I saw, if they had for lack of a better term, a spaceship 150 foot above their head, and their coworkers got abducted, and all the other crap that has happened to me. If they found it out too suddenly, I don't think it's going to go that swimmingly. This thing that I hear all of these people at these conferences. Oh, we're ready for disclosure. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you and your friends that have been studying this stuff for the last 50 years.
Yeah, the people that are there at the conference, right? I mean, they've heard it, so they already know.
Yeah,
or at least they're firm believers, right?
That's not a good. Yeah, you're talking about a rotten data sample there. I mean, yeah, you people are all fine with it. I'm fine with it because I know it's real. But the average Joe, even people that are your friends that'll listen to you and kind of go, well, I believe you. Well, they sort of do, and they sort of don't. And it's a defense thing. It's just too much.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think that disclosure, I don't know how they're ever going to do this, man. It's once you've seen the reality of it up close, I'm like, I don't know, man, because I was an open-minded guy. I was not raised in a religious household, really. I mean, I went to church as an adult, with an ex-wife on for quite a few years, but I just mean I wasn't a religious thinker in terms of science, religion itself. I was open-minded, but it still hit me like a ton of bricks to realize that people get abducted, that there's probably tons of kinds of these things. We don't know I don't know. I just thought that part of the interview, I was like, boy, that don't sound right to me, but what do I know? Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong lots, but.
Well, it's like Barry says here, it's like Twitter. We knew what was going on. Now that we got the proof, nobody's pulling their hair out. We knew it all along. Yeah, the censorship and suppression of facts, whether you're a Biden fan of it, and his son and all that stuff that was squashed in the pushing of this what was it, Russia helping Trump and all of this stuff, and that's all turned out to be false with the help of the FBI, by the way.
Right. It's
but let's man. I don't want to go into that stuff. I mean, it's been proven, and here's the thing.
I know.
People will believe what they want to believe, especially when it comes to politics and religion.
Yeah.
So once they're into that framework, and I think it's exactly what you said, Guy, and a big one is the defense mechanism. As soon as something challenges your belief system or your worldview, let's put it that way. People like saying that. It's like, holy crap. I mean, imagine what it would be like if you walk outside one day and you look up and here's the face of God up in the sky staring down at the planet. Right? What would that do to you? You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, this stuff is real. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That is exact. Yes.
Right?
Oh,
Go ahead,
no.
Burton. Go ahead.
No.
Yeah, any sudden complete destruction of your worldview, even if it's like in this case, it might be confirmational to some people, but still, your worldview to be altered that dramatically, that suddenly, is just, it's hard on a person psychologically, physically. I mean, the consequences. There's a guy, Ben Hansen, who does a lot of TV shows. He's a very bright guy. He's really a renaissance man. The guy's a former FBI guy, which makes me not trust him that much. But he's the host of a bunch of various UFO specials.
I think
he's also
I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
and he's getting a master's right now. I think at Georgetown University, he's getting a PhD, and he did a doctoral thesis on. It's called something like the psychosocial consequences of Earth of worldview altering. It's this long damn title that I can't repeat. I've got the video. I downloaded it from YouTube because I've got a thing that'll do that. And he analyzes the effects. It tries to estimate what effects something like, say, the disclosure that aliens were real would have on humanity, and what would be affected, and kind of how, like how COVID, affected the world. What would be the effects of some even bigger, I wish I could remember the title of that video. So it's on YouTube. It's very, I don't think hardly anybody watched it. It's very academic, and it was really good. But anyway, I just don't know how you tell people this. That's why I made those YouTube videos. I thought, well, the people will see these. They'll think, well, this is just some joker on YouTube. But, but if it just plants a seed, so maybe people aren't so, so that they're a little bit more prepared for this. I mean, I had nightmares about it, not about aliens. I had nightmares that these things had landed and people were freaking out. And I was trying to help calm people down. I mean, that's the nightmares I've had a couple of times. And I thought people have to know this, as kooky as it sounds, I mean, I just don't think it's going to go very well. Anyway, I'm going to shut up.
Burton.
With that, I got to smoke.
Yeah. Don't get yourself all worked up, Guy.
Makes me nervous. Where's my blood pressure medicine?
Right. All right, Burton.
What's
up, man?
I think, there's Guy, you just made a lot of really good points. When it comes to someone having a direct experience, like any of you three have had that direct of an experience, yeah, I could see that being one thing. Like, imagine if, I don't know, at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, all across North America, basically from a satellite view, every inch of North America was covered with UFOs, and they released some kind of sonic sound that made us all come outside and see them or something like that. That would be nuts if everybody had that kind of an experience. That
would be good.
That would be that. Yeah. That might be a problem.
Do you think people would even care?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes,
for sure.
That's what you guys said on the podcast. That was
right.
what you guys said. Oh, people wouldn't care, and I'm like,
oh, they'd
my head went.
If something,
my head exploded. I was like, okay, what kind of crack are we smoking today?
I mean, if some kind of Twilight Zone or science fiction thing happened like that, that's one thing. Now, but if we're just saying, like, I mean, I guess then what is our definition of disclosure? Is it who's telling us what then? I guess if because we certainly all, I think we all don't have a whole lot of trust in the government. So like, do we like trust with let's say they came out and they're like, yeah, here's everything. Would we even believe that? You know what I mean?
Nope.
It's like, what does it even look like anymore? So,
here's what I say, and Michelle and I have talked about this a little bit, and I've talked about this on other podcasts with people like Rich Giordano from Goofon and things. That what we're doing right now, and other people like us are doing right now after they have an experience and start talking about it in a public way like this. Mm-hmm. This is disclosure. Yeah. This is what you're gonna get, because
I was gonna say this is all you're gonna get.
Exactly. It's just like was it Barry that said that he trusts Guy because he doesn't have a book?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Things like that, and like our story, and anything I see on TV, I know is 97% of the time baloney.
Yeah.
Ghost hunters, all of that stuff. Okay. Yeah. But when Burton tells me that he was sitting at historic Fort Wayne and had a Coke can go flying off a desk or something like that, or fall, or no reason for it to move,
lifted up and placed into an open drawer.
Right.
It was lifted and placed. Like, it was crazy.
That's awesome. Right. And I would believe that from a person I can sit there and talk to and ask questions of and look at.
Who's not brought to you by,
right.
Erectile dysfunction.
By Coke.
Right. And on Sci-Fi Channel, it'd be something like this. Listen, guys, I got to tell you about what happened. All right. Right after these messages.
Spooky music,
Yeah. Or, and that was a big thing with the media too, right? I mean, every time was the X-Files music.
You hated that.
Yeah. I hated that. After Michelle and I went through what we went through with the UFO.
I can't even watch. I don't watch that stuff.
Oh my God, man.
I've never seen the X-Files. I've told you guys many times, I've never seen 5 minutes of Star Trek. I don't watch. I don't. This happened. It's odd that this happened to me, because I got a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. I do drywall, plumbing, and electrical, remodeled a bunch of houses. I mean, I'm not that new age foo-foo guy. I was a musician, but I wasn't somebody out there looking for this.
Right. Yeah, that is. I mean, for the record, X-Files is a great show. I will say that. But
I believe it. I mean, whatever you're in, I like documentaries. Like, I watch stuff like how they built the Hoover Dam.
Fair enough.
I'm a weird guy, man. I'm a weird guy.
But it always, every single time when I would listen to one of your episodes and you would bring that up, and I could hear how mad you were getting in your voice. It would make me laugh every time. I was like, God, he hates that so much.
What, you talking about me now?
No, the X-Files music.
No, Wayne with the X-Files music.
and news stories and stuff because it's the kitschy thing to do. You know, it's
right.
It's the way for them to kind of lessen it in a way, and it is annoying and I would imagine somewhat insulting for real experiencers, even if you whether you like the show or not. You know
what the thing about it is, I don't care what anybody says. We all like to pretend we're tough guys. I worked for a while as a security guard. I've had my butt in some cracks. These things are traumatic experiences for most people.
Yeah,
mine was real traumatic.
Yes.
And when people fictionalize it and sugarcoat it and put goofy music in it and interrupt it with, like I said, advertisements for, blood pressure pills and adult diapers, and it's too serious for me. I can't take
Or
it.
the 30th time you've seen the Sky Rizzy commercial, and you start to be able to memorize what freaking ailment
What
these
side effects you're going to end up
not
with.
only the side effects, but now it's for dermatitis or some kind of
Right.
crazy stuff. I mean, it's just this constant wave of propaganda and things. I spend more time watching things on YouTube anymore and just listening to normal people than watching this stuff, because like even Fox News, Tucker Carlson seems to be interested in UFOs and things like that, and has had Gary Nolan on there, and Jeremy
toy just a minute.
Yeah, Jeremy Corbell and things like that, and but then you see the flying saucer in the background come from behind the buildings, and it's like, what the hell? What are you guys doing?
Isn't it kind of weird though? Because like, why?
Thanks, Barry. By the way, that's good. Yeah.
If there's a show, if there's a television show on, the advertisements that they put in it, they are aiming those advertisements to the demographic that they think is watching, right?
Yeah.
It's all just business, right?
Yep.
And it's really weird to me that those are the kind of commercials, because I know a ton, almost every single person my age or younger that I know is into this stuff. So it's just odd to me that but now granted, a lot of the people that I know and talk to are more into like the YouTube side of things and things like that, as opposed to, your Travel Channel or your Sci-Fi or whatever. But most of them probably don't even have cable. They probably just stream everything. But it's odd to me that they think that that's the demographic when it's not. It's very, because not only that though, because some of those, full disclosure, some of those shows I do like, and I'm in some of those groups on Facebook, and it's everybody. It's not one it's every demographic. It's not just one. So it doesn't make sense that they seem to be advertisingly targeting. I don't know if that's how you say that. Targeting their advertisements to one, which doesn't seem to make much sense. It's very strange.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I think what you said is, it's business, man. It's big business, and if they can make money off of something, whether it's the traumatized, people that went through something related to UFOs or cryptids or whatever. I mean, they're gonna use you to make that show popular and sell that advertisement 100%. And get that money from that ad revenue. And it's kind of unfortunate, but just so you guys know, we're at 56 minutes already. Wow. So we got 4 more minutes and we're going to take a break. So, look, the sex bots have shown up.
That's Charlie the Chihuahua. He's if you hear a squeaky toy in the background, that's what he's like chewing on stuff.
Charlie.
I was going to say too, I'm sitting here bashing television. Actually, on Discovery Plus, there's a series. For instance, this is one series. It's called Aliens in Alaska, and they've got people that my instincts tell me are absolutely sincere, and they've had totally bizarre experiences. So it's not like I wouldn't totally throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I particularly don't care for fictionalized stuff. I like to hear people talk about their real experiences. And it's not like everybody that's profiled on those shows who's had an experience is lying. I mean, at all. I mean, some of those people are clearly traumatized. It happened. And you just have to live through the advertising or buy the deluxe package, which we do, because I don't want to be interrupted with advertising. It just ruins it for me.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys got some homework over the 5-minute break here. So what I want you guys to do is each come up with something from the podcast, or it doesn't even have to be the podcast, something you want to bring up, whether it was the latest episode, something from a previous episode this season, and, bring it up. Let's talk about it. And maybe I've got some background information that can use, tell you a little bit about. Little behind the scenes stuff when I was talking to, because I talked to a lot of the guests, for a while before I start recording anything.
I want to know what Jack Bushong told you that you acted like you couldn't tell us, or the government would put you in a meat grinder.
He wanted to go. He's going right for the gut right there.
Yeah.
I won't discuss any classified information.
No, yeah. I know there's things you can't say.
But actually I was going through because this is your year in review. This is your season finale. And I was going through just like flipping through, like, who did you have on this year? It's as podcasters, when you become a podcaster, you start as a podcast fan. And when you listen to a ton of podcasts, things get jumbled and mixed up.
Oh, for sure.
So I was going through like, okay, which ones, who was this year, and I was going through it. So I could probably come up with something. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. We're gonna go ahead and take a break, everybody. We'll be back in like 5 minutes, and stretch your legs, get a drink, and we'll be right back. And we're gonna start with you, Burton, and see what you have going on. So and keep the Chihuahua away. They're scary.
Nuts, man. He's got a squeaky toy. I didn't think of this
Paranormal
podcast, and he's chewing on this thing, right?
You named the Chihuahua Paranormal, right?
I named him Charlie for Charlie H. Brown. I don't know.
All right. I'm going to send you guys to the back here real quick. All right, Michelle, you ready for a break?
A little bit of a break. Got excited though when I saw Barry bring up the children at the school in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, the Ariel school, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and get out of here. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. Hang tight for a 5-minute break, and we will be back with you in a few minutes. There is 4 minutes left to this break. Three minutes left, everybody. Just 3 minutes. Two minutes left, everybody. Get ready. 2 minutes. One more minute and we are back. One more minute. All right, everybody, we're back. All right, we are back and live. Let's go ahead and get the guys back in here. Burton is back. All right. And we got Guy. Guy is back. What's going on? Anything strange happen over break? Everything okay?
Yeah. Sadly, nothing strange happened.
Nothing paranormal or went crazy. So, all right. And just waiting on Michelle to get back. So
I did a search to try to find the title of that. I mentioned Ben Hansen did this. He's doing his PhD and his thesis is on, on how, the consequences on the society of sudden worldview altering thing. And it's such a good, to me, that's a great topic, but I couldn't find the damn video. Of course, story of my life. But I wanted to find the correct title. And I don't know it so much that I can't even find it. I've got it on a hard drive somewhere. So but that's what I did. That's what I did on my summer vacation. I mean, my 5-minute break.
all right. So you guys had a little assignment you had to get done here. So let's see what's going on in chat before we jump into that. So we got Amua. Howdy from West Michigan. Huh, I wonder if that's like Battle Creek. Well, welcome, Amuamua 42. Thank you. We got Barry is saying he's in northern Michigan. Awesome.
Nice.
Maybe around Muskegon, maybe. All right, that's good. And let's see what Ian had to say over break. He says, if aliens do make contact with us, wouldn't they bypass world governments and produce a TV signal directly to world population in every language? A possibility. Ooh, that's a good
I like
point,
that.
man.
I like that.
Yeah,
Stuff
that's
like that.
that's
Might work. Yeah.
yeah, that's good stuff. All right. Hey, look, Michelle's back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah. So, and I see where Barry's talking a little bit too about I think it's the aerial school children,
Yeah, that's. I noticed he wrote that.
Zimbabwe.
I posted a thing on my regular Facebook timeline about a year ago, and said, yeah, it was a snippet I took and I cut it out of a video, and I said, how could anybody dispute this? And of course, my normal Facebook friends, very few people responded, and they were kind of like, I mean, it's just like, how could anybody? That's a great point, Barry. I mean, how could anybody look at those kids and that story, and now they're adults, and I think what is it? The movie that came out most recently where they're all adults, and
Oh yeah.
what is it?
That I believe that's in the Phenomenon movie.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
adults, and I mean, one's a civil rights, human rights attorney, one's like a grade school or high school teacher, one's a social worker, and they all say, "Look, this happened, whether you like it or don't." I mean,
Hold that thought, guy, because we've
Yeah.
got Johnny Bongo
uh,
hitting us up from Northland, New Zealand.
Zealand.
Hey, man,
New
welcome,
Zealand?
New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. Hi. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Thanks for
it's cool.
joining us.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. That's awesome, man. Great to see you.
Yeah.
All right. So I promised that we would start with Burton. And all right.
So going through like the year in review,
The year in review. Let's
of-
do this.
of the Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters podcast. I mean, well, there were kind of I don't really have like a specific point made on a specific podcast, but two of the ones, a lot of them really stuck out to me. But two of the ones that kind of like really kept me going back in terms of guests, two of them in particular, one of them just as a guest. I loved your episode with Christina Gomez, because I still continue to follow all her stuff. Like, her videos are fantastic, and I thought your guys' conversation was great. I kind of feel like she is sort of like all of us here, just like kind of someone like just kind of going into it and trying to kind of figure it out and talking to the people that they can, and she's been getting some amazing guests, as you guys have, and that particular episode really stuck out to me, because I just thought it was a fantastic conversation. You covered a lot of stuff, and it I think she's another really great one to be in the podcast YouTube kind of community and all this sort of thing. So I really enjoyed that particular episode. But then of course I have to give a shout out to Jeff Colnott, because of course he also came on my show because he's in a band here in Michigan, and it was that he came on Lost in the Dark, because it was before Follow the Reaper had come out yet, and him and I, that was, besides you guys, that was really the first time I ever got to have an episode on Lost in the Dark where it was all just nothing but metal and paranormal. And that was just tremendous fun, and that wouldn't have happened without you guys. So that meant the world to me, and so yeah, those were of the last year. Not to say there weren't others. Those were the two that kind of really still clicked today. And then but of course also oh wait, I don't know if that was last year. Uncharted X, Ben. I don't know if that was last.
That was the first year, dude.
That was the first year. That was
Yeah, but we didn't have these lives going either.
No.
So yeah, I couldn't. I didn't see. I was like, I don't think I just saw his name when I was looking through them. But that's another one that we're like I still watch his stuff all the time. But yeah, so for me, and then but also of course, Gemma Jade, we all of us got to talk to her, Jack,
Jack Bouchon, man, come on.
Jack, I mean, come on, exactly. Like I just watched him on a Netflix show, and I got to talk to him. I've never gotten to talk to anybody from Netflix before. That was crazy. so no, like there's been a lot. You guys have had an incredible year, and I thank you guys so much for everything, including me in these and sending Jeff my way and stuff like that. And it's yeah, you guys, it's been great. It's been great. I guess a question I would have though is, because like Jeff talked, like you guys have people that talk about things that aren't ancient archaeology or UFO, but you also kind of like grind the line between yeah, sometimes you go into ghosts, but not really. You never really go into cryptids that much. So I'm wondering, like, is that like on purpose, or is it just like what because trust me, as a podcaster, I know sometimes it just goes and you just follow. It's kind of leading. And so I wonder, is that on purpose, or like, would you guys ever like have someone on that's like a cryptozoologist or something like that? Or
well, we did in the first season.
Yeah.
We had the professional Bigfoot hunter, but honestly, it's kind of hard to get some of those people on.
Fair enough.
So it's like when we put out the call to, and I mean, Michelle, we'll talk to anybody pretty much, right? I mean,
oh, I don't doubt. Yeah.
It's just it's like, who can we get? Like,
yeah.
Well, and even the show where we started talking about Bigfoot, it ended up turning paranormal.
Yeah.
At the end of the show, so everything was paranormal.
It's all paranormal.
Yeah, I mean, on some level.
No, that's a good question.
I was just curious if you had like if you had like sort of like an intentional like path of people you were going for, UFO or not, or not to say you were like excluding anybody or anything like that, but if you just wanted to have your own like the things that you're interested in, you know what I mean? So
it really comes down to who can schedule an interview in the amount of time and like the space that we have available, and who contacts us back and who's right. Like Kathleen Marden, man, bless her heart, what a sweet woman. And I messaged her on Facebook, dude, and was like, we need somebody to be like our season finale. Yeah, I've heard so much about you. I've been looking into you. Here's our story about what happened. I sent her all this stuff, and she came on a couple days later, even dealing with, COVID, and getting over that. And she came on, an absolute lovely woman, telling, her aunt and uncle's story and all the things that she has, done in the community. And, sometimes it just falls into place. Other people like Jack Bouchon and I have become pretty good friends. Jared Murphy, Not Aliens, Worse It's Us, author, and we had on here.
That was another.
Him and I are very close friends. Jim Goodall, we've become very close friends. Gemma Jade, Gemma is not only amazing as an empath and a psychic. If you buy into that stuff, all I know is that the stuff that she has done with us has been crazy.
She's great.
But sometimes I'll hear people on other podcasts and I'll just reach out. I'll just hit them up any which way possible. There's still a lot of people I want to get on the podcast, but it's interesting that you bring up kind of like, is it intentional? I'm going to start focusing, I think, for season 3 more on ancient tech, especially with me going to this thing in June. looking
Sure.
at the the pyramids in South America and Central America, and there's some things in the work going on in Central America as well. I can't get into that because I'm like under some major confidential stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, I it
I
really
won't ask.
sucks, man. But um
Hopefully you can someday.
yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. But yeah, man, it's just, cuz while Michelle and I had this experience with this triangular UFO and it kind of led us down this path,
Mhm.
the being a science teacher and a scientist myself, I like to actually be able to test a lot of these things. And that's the one thing that pisses me off more than anything about this UFO thing is it's anecdotal stories.
Yeah.
And like Guy, I believe Guy 100%.
Yes.
Would I believe myself? Sure. But having Michelle next to me, and going through it, that changed everything. Right?
You literally said if she wasn't there, I don't know if I would have even told anyone.
Nope.
So
But we both kind of had this, I don't want to say calling. It's really bizarre. It's like, let's see if anybody else saw this thing. And then it's just been
was more
down
of a
that rabbit hole.
you're a scientist. It was a
Yeah.
question.
And that's why I like a lot of the ancient archaeology stuff because, obviously it's all political now because, who can control the information, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But you can go and test things. You can go and
Right,
look at
exactly.
things. You can go there right now. So, is it intentional? Kind of. But sometimes I hear a cool person on another podcast I listen to, and,
And
I'll
yeah.
reach out and they'll be like, sure, I'll come on. Absolutely,
that way.
freaking man. Greg Little, Dr. Greg Little.
Yeah.
That was another one, man. And just, wow, it's been crazy. All right, Michelle, what's Rick saying?
Rick has said that he's not met a person yet that believes his story that a UFO conveyed a message of warning to him that he had seen a UFO on request, except for his wife. She saw that one with him.
Yep.
Warning to me.
Yeah.
Or that I saw UFO on.
I'm inclined. I don't know Rick, but I'm inclined to believe him because there's just not
what's
much
in
of
it
a
for
reason
him?
Yeah, this is
It
what
goes back to Burton
Yep.
saying, what is it in for? What's in it for any of us? For me, it's curiosity.
I mean, yeah, for me, it's like if I see something like that, like the experiences I've had at all the paranormal or the supposed haunted locations that I've been to, it's a good story. At the end of the day, that's really all it is. I can have all the evidence, but if I'm all strapped up with all my gear and everything, I can have all the evidence. But at the end of the day, it's something that I got to experience, and it's a great story. So that's what I get out of it.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I've been thinking about doing lately is maybe even starting another YouTube channel or adding some videos on here and doing basically like 20-minute little earth science lessons to teach people like high school, early college level earth science stuff so that when they do hear a Graham Hancock talking about the the prime meridian and how to read a map and why is it such a big deal that people 10,000 years ago were mapping places and it seemed like they were using latitude and longitude and those kind of things. I've been thinking about maybe putting together little lessons and like little presentations about plate tectonics, what can happen, what do we know,
Yes.
things like that. So there's some things.
I was fortunate enough to have a professor when I went to Michigan State University. It was a class that dealt with, can't remember what the name of it was, but it was a class that dealt with evolution and the different time periods and all that stuff, Graham Hancock kind of stuff. and I already knew him going into that class. And the professor was actually like, he literally, I remember him, I'm paraphrasing, but kind of saying at one point in time, like, we don't actually know any of this. This is all just the best guess we have at the moment, mostly. Like he really kind of did it loose enough to where I was like, okay, like you're not coming at me like this is your Bible or something like this.
Right.
I was going to say
really
that
nice.
speaks to what I was saying earlier about religious forms of thinking. And I'm not talking about religion like Christianity. I'm talking about that, but I'm talking about science. I'm
Just
talking about rigid forms of thinking.
Rigid, yes.
It's a dogma. It becomes a dogma.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like that stuff.
Yeah.
And
this is the way plate tectonics works, and that's it, and that's all there is to it, and it's over.
And that idea actually is a really good one, because in doing things like podcasting and learning how like cameras work and audio and all that, and you know, when you do a podcast, you want to put together a thumbnail, right? It took me so long to figure out how to do a thumbnail. Like it was like it was so hard for me to use Photoshop, and I ended up using a different program. Like it was this whole thing. And so that made me think, okay, well, I'm sitting here talking about all these UFO, Bigfoot, ghosts, Dogman videos and photographs all the time, but I don't know the mechanics of how someone could even fake it. So like, shouldn't I research that to like kind of give me more leverage to be like, oh, well, no, that's fake right there, you know, as soon as I see it.
Yeah.
Like, so to your like earth science short video things, same idea. Like that's the exact kind of investigating or thinking that thought crossed my mind earlier.
Well, you know, and I kind of got this idea because looking at and watching that show with Graham Hancock, there's a lot of talk of astrological alignments and things like that, but a lot of people don't even understand, you know, how the earth wobbles. You know, it's a 26,000 year cycle of how, you know, we're used to Polaris being the North Star. You know, in 10,000 years, it's going to be Vega. It's not going to, right? It changes because the Earth's North Pole is pointing toward a different part of the sky over 26,000 years. It goes through a cycle, you know. So, you know, the summer, winter solstice, the equinoxes and things like that, you know, there's things like that I would like to put out there and try to explain at like a middle school, high school level for people to get, a good understanding of what these things are. It's just an idea I'm throwing around because, well, that's what I do every day. So, you know,
and I think if you, I love that stuff. I love that stuff, but it never sank in until later, you know, and it wasn't until like kind of YouTube videos where they were like, sometimes talking about paranormal stuff, sometimes not, where they would just like kind of explain or just straight up science, things like the Cosmos Show. I know you're not a giant fan of Neil deGrasse Tyson, but that first season of that show, there was no, I don't feel like there was any agenda there. There was just straight science. It seemed like I don't remember if he ever got into like the ages and the Graham Hancocky stuff, but like in general, like that was the first time I'd ever heard of a tardigrade, you know, like microbiology, some of that, and a lot of like earth science kind of stuff, astronomy especially, because I took astronomy, I took astronomy classes in both of the schools I went to because it fascinated me, and so like all that stuff about the earth wobble and the North Star and all that stuff is always so fascinated me. So anytime there's an opportunity for someone to have a new way into that, especially, you know, if it's, you know, entertaining in some way or something, it's huge. That can be huge. Like, I think it's a really good idea.
Cool. Any other episodes or anything out there grab you?
I think I mentioned all mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Guy, let's go to
Yeah.
you then, man.
Oh man, I'm gonna be like this big flop for your season finale because I'm old. You know, I listen to
Get
a
off
few-
my lawn.
Yeah, exactly. I listen to a few of them. I don't listen to all of them because I just, I was kind of joking before we went on live, but I've had a heart attack and a stroke, and I'm old and tired. I'm representing the geriatric set here. It's like I listened to a few of them. Of course, I listened to Jack Bushong with great interest, and I mean that couldn't have been a cooler thing for me than to get, because I was, whether or not he believes it or, no, I'm not casting aspersions. I don't know what he believes. I think he seems very broad-minded, but I mean, I was involved in that, and it meant a lot to me to be able to, query him and talk to him and hear his end of things, and it's such a cool opportunity for me, and I want to thank you guys. It was really a neat thing for me. This is something that changed the trajectory of my life, the way I think. I mean, and I was surprised to hear. One thing I blew my mind is, he was very analytical and he was all about data. But at one point, got a siren going by. He gave up that I think his sister-in-law was sitting at a red light and the car across the street had a classic like UFO saucer hovering above it. So he was much more broad-minded than I thought he would be. And it was just fun. And I appreciate you guys letting me be on and talk to him. It meant a lot to me because this has really been kind of my life is kind of divided into two parts. It's
Yep.
before this event and after. And so that was a big one for me in so many ways. And God, I hate negativists. I've mentioned before that I listened to Nathaniel Gillis, and it kind of bothered me. Listen, I don't rain on anybody's thing. I mean, what I don't do is stand up and say, "No, I know this is how it is, and you should listen to me, and I know I'm right," and blah blah blah. I'm not a demon and angel guy. I mean, I think there may be entities that are dark, that are, just like there's crappy people, and dark, mean, evil people. I wasn't raised in a religious household. I don't know exactly what a demon is. I don't know that. I think more in terms of the scientific sort of thing. I mean, and also I think that those kinds of interpretations of these things further push us away from ever having open contact. I think they're counterproductive. So I'm being honest. I mean, it's nail me to a cross. They've nailed a few good people to crosses. And I just didn't like, I didn't enjoy that. And he seemed like a really nice young man. He was very, very knowledgeable, very well read. If he said biblical antiquity one more time, I was going to put a bullet in my head. I literally was going to take cyanide because it felt like just an overdone attempt to sound scholarly. And I'm like, and you're telling me that, what aliens are is they're demons that have come to suck my soul. And I'm like, you don't know that. And I don't know that it's not true, but I don't see any kind of evidence for that sort of thing. That's some pretty weird for me, it was weird speculation. And,
I think, playing devil's advocate, no pun intended.
Yeah, there you go. But
right. But here's the thing that I've kind of picked up over the last couple of years is that, well, first of all, the people that are taking the religious / spiritual side of these things will look at you, Guy, and say, okay, you're saying that you saw this ship and you're coworkers were abducted and stuff. Where's your biological specimen?
Yeah,
Right?
well, you're
And
stuck.
because you, well,
Yeah.
but I don't want you to answer. It's okay. You're not you don't have to defend to me, man. Trust
There
me.
are different.
But
I
this
know
is
where you're getting at standards of proof,
Right.
And there are different standards of proof for science than there are for, say, criminal law. I get that. And,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
don't
see, but that's the thing, right? So if it's materialistic, it's got to be some type of biological entity then. So where are the biological entities? That's where they come from. And because nobody can produce a biological entity that we know of, or a craft that we know
Right.
of, even
And
though we've seen them.
I don't want to lose that thought either. Go ahead, but I'll tell you why
Okay.
we can't.
All right.
Go ahead.
But so then they adopt, they take their worldview and they put it into this, right? They
Right.
take the worldview, they pick it up and they slide it over and put that frame around what this phenomenon is. And now they have an explanation. And it goes back to what you were saying with that the trauma thing of our minds saying, snap, I can't figure this out.
Right.
Dude, I'm shutting things off, and I'm gonna create a pattern that I can deal with in my head,
Right.
because what I'm seeing, it's got to be this, and then I've got an explanation. It's just like dissociative personality disorder, right? Multiple personalities,
Yeah.
right? Your brain will compartmentalize and create a barrier that it can deal with, even if it's a whole nother personality when you've gone through those kind of traumas. So for them, it is, oh, that's the Nephilim, man. That's not aliens. They've been talking about this for years, getting drug out of your home during the Middle Ages, man, and succubi and incubus, coming
Right.
and taking you away.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what they apply. Now, I'm not saying it's right.
I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying
Right.
that for me, why wouldn't you start with, we don't know a darn thing, all right? But I would just start with what we know, which is we know as much as we know anything, and that's a deep dive. And I don't even I wish we were all telepathic, because words are these symbols we use to convey ideas,
Dude, yes.
that often mean other things to the people we're talking to than we mean. But why wouldn't we start with that which is most obvious, which is we know that we're these sentient beings on a planet living in a three-dimensional world. We know that the universe is large beyond any sort of real meaningful description. Why wouldn't you start there and go, well, we're here and we evolved, and we're not, we are neither demons nor angels. We might not be friendly. Some of us might be Jeffrey Dahmer, and some of us might be Pope Francis. But
Sure.
I'm just saying, but why wouldn't you start there and not with it's? Well, I've said to you before, I think on numerous occasions, virtually every indigenous people on the planet, pretty much, when confronted with a white European with a camera, saw a demon or a god with a device that would steal their soul. Okay. And they have a perfect track record. Absolutely perfect. They were wrong 100% of the time. They were never right once, not one time. And every one of those groups of people, that's what they leapt to. This is in our DNA. Oh, I don't know what it is. It's a demon. It's an angel. No. Don't you see what you're doing? You're talking.
No, they don't.
And I listened to him on another podcast, and he explained that his dad was an extremely, extremely conservative, kind of / crazy evangelical pastor. And I'm like, well, there you go. So this is
Exactly.
So there's something that I don't know what it is. Ergo, it must be a demon or an angel. I go, what?
Because that makes sense to them.
Yeah, but we have to. Yeah, it makes sense to them. And some people think it makes sense to cut themselves with knives. And I mean, there's got to be some kind of consensus as to how, epistemologically, how do we come to truth, and how do we logic and reason. And is that really an acceptable way of determining what's possibly true? And there's a danger in that too. Like I said, when you start telling people, well, don't talk to them aliens because they're demons. They're going to suck the soul out of your body. That's what they're here for. They want to take your soul, and that's terrific. Straight from, the Assemblies of God Church or wherever you've been. I mean, you don't know that. You don't know that demons even exist. Maybe
but see, by saying
that, that's a button for me.
I realize that we've had this conversation.
Yeah, I know.
Across Facebook.
Dangerous. It's a very dangerous.
By saying that,
yeah.
They're able to label and identify in their mind,
right,
so that they can deal with it in the way that they know how.
Just like every indigenous group of people has since the beginning
exactly.
of time, and they've been wrong every freaking time, not right once.
And the angels and demons are just the current terms.
Well, yeah. This
like
is
what
I said
Barry
about
says.
Words. You can get into exactly. Does that mean? What does it mean exactly? And
Columbus referred to it as
But for most people, let's be honest. For most people, we know what demons mean. We're talking about
good and bad.
Something that was. It's kind of.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's trickled out of the Judeo-Christian tradition, and it's this supernatural being that's not really of physical form, and it's beyond all description. And
all right, Guy, take a breath, man. I don't want you to have to start popping pills.
I got a blood pressure pill here.
But look right here.
What day is it?
Today is Saturday still.
Okay.
But right here is a perfect example. And I'm not picking on Rick. But you know how many people I've heard use their interdimensional for Bigfoot, for UFOs, for so instead of saying angels and demons, now we're talking interdimensional. Okay, so what kind of technology is being used to jump dimensions?
Well, but I mean that
it's like a fallback. It's a fail safe.
You can't use the unexplainable to explain the unexplainable.
Right. It's a fail safe.
Yeah, but I mean, when you say interdimensional, you're implying at least for myself, maybe I'm unique in this way amongst our group here, but you're implying something that is fundamentally scientific,
technological.
Yeah. What did you say?
Technological.
Yeah.
In order to travel, we
would
assume that it would require something technological, which is an assumption.
There's a huge spiritual component to these experiences, and I think some of these beings might be very, very, very spiritually ascendant. And, spirituality is everything. I mean, it's everything. It's not even a thing. It's like everything. I think we're probably light beings. I think we probably persist after bodily death. And I have my own beliefs and they're not important. But the point is this, I just sense that there's a danger when people start leaping to these things. And like I said, we've done it since we crawled out of the caves. We've been alive all the time, and that's it.
So, Guy, do you know how many times when I've talked about your story to people and to people about Michelle and her and I, what we saw with the triangle? You know how many times I hear TR3B because that's been put out there? Yeah, it's not a thing. It's not real.
I think it's disinformation. I don't think it's real.
The military aircraft? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, I even heard that. I even brought that up to you once on one of these live. And then you sent me more information. I was like, oh well, shit. Well,
yeah, it's disinformation. One of the best things you could possibly do for foreign countries is make them think you got patents out there for machines that can do amazing things,
right?
Or maybe they can, but they don't know. But look at what Johnny says right here. Johnny says you can't use the unexplained to explain unexplainable. Nice. That's right.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yep.
Yeah. But also
it's the year-end review debate. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I wasn't trying. And listen,
I know. I'm messing with you guys.
This guy, the young man to whom I referred, seemed like a really nice young guy. I mean, I'm not much of a hater. I don't
No.
like, just if I disagree with somebody, I'm not mad at them.
No.
I just feel like it's kind of dangerous to tell people that you think they're demons stealing your souls. And I'm like, man, that's way out. You don't know anything like that. I don't know. It's not true. There's nothing in our human experience, in my opinion, would confirm that there are demons out there stealing people's souls. And if you believe that, fine. I've never seen it. And
All right.
a lot of people would say to me,
So what about interdimensionals?
well, again, to me, that implies a certain level of technology. It's
You're
not
doing it, guy. You're doing it. You're doing exactly what you said.
No, I'm not. No, I take big issue with you. No, I'm not.
Okay. All right.
I'm saying that perhaps, we don't know scientifically.
Take another blood pressure pill.
That there couldn't be another dimension, right? I just feel like this demon stuff is drawn from the Christian Bible, and it's got this guys with horns and tails and pitchforks, and come on, stealing your souls, and I don't know. How do we know? How do we know there aren't other dimensions scientifically?
I think I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure we do. I think there are different dimensions. Do we know it for sure scientifically? No, but it's definitely a very plausible theory right now. But when it comes to multiverse, exactly. But when it comes to like the demonic stuff, I was raised Catholic and Christian Catholic, whatever. And I'm not. I don't like any of that. I am not a fan of organized religion. I do not think it is historically speaking, I do not think it is a generally positive thing. Having said that, I am clearly a giant metalhead, and metal doesn't exist without demonic imagery. And so they bring that
supernatural
and the supernatural. Exactly. But the thing I've always thought about that is that here's the kicker. Here's the kicker, because the big one right now at this point in time in history seems to be Christianity, and they stole all their imagery from people that they conquered. So it's like all these different things are just amalgams of other things. Now they're all just Frankensteins of everything else, and of all the different religions and cultures that they took over and forced into theirs, and they took those bits and pieces of those other things to bring in to make it more you take a sugar pill to make the medicine go down or whatever kind of a thing.
Right.
And that's where the Christmas tree comes from and all these different things. And so it's when I agree with you when I hear people say like demons sucking souls. Well, first of all, you're assuming souls exist. That hasn't been proven. And second of all, this imagery that they often describe, it's a fictional amalgam. Like, it's not any, like, it comes from fiction. Like, it's not, it's Godzilla. You know what I mean? It's not.
No, that's I think you're channeling me right now. Right? Okay, that's exactly. You said it well. You said it extremely well. Is that
think about ancient people. By the way, Johnny from New Zealand says, "I hope you listen to Mastodon."
Oh, I love Mastodon.
Yes,
love Mastodon, Johnny.
Yes. And it's an incredible creature that went extinct during the Younger Dryas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got one thought. Thank you, and thank you to Johnny from New Zealand. How cool is it that we've got somebody from New Zealand, man?
Yeah. Awesome.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, welcome.
He says he by the way, he said earlier that he came from the Brothers of the Serpent website, the Facebook group. So yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah.
I want Wayne, you said something a minute ago, and I just want to get this thought out, and then I'll be kind of quiet.
Okay, go for it.
And blabbing. But you said people will say, and I understand it completely, this is something that's been on my mind a lot recently, is that, well, we don't have these craft in our possession, blah, blah, blah. Well, actually, I think we do have some. I think,
or at least pieces.
number one, if there's one kind of them, just like two things here. If there's one kind of them, there's probably millions of kinds of them.
Yep.
And some of them are 5,000 years ahead, and they come here and there's a thunderstorm and they crash, right? The ones that are 300,000 years ahead don't do that, right? But why don't we? Why can't we? Why don't we find these things? Why don't we have our hands on them? And I am convinced. I mean, convinced is a bad word. I'm a suspector, not a believer. I think I said that before. But I strongly suspect, having listened to the testimonies of a lot of people who appear sane and sober and intelligent, that these things can manipulate time and space. That's how they can get here, right? So if you've got an advanced race of beings that are so technological, that are technologically superior to the extent that they could manipulate time and space, good luck catching one and putting it in your garage for analysis, because if I listened to a gal the other day who appeared eminently psychologically sound, just she presented, as we say in psychology, as a sane person. It was in a video. I mean, I didn't give her a Rorschach or a Minnesota multiphasic personality inventory. I just listened to the girl, right? The woman, and she was very articulate, and she'd been abducted her whole life, she said, and I tend to believe her, And she said on one occasion she was taken, and she was upset because she was like 16 and she had a curfew, and she was going to get home later than she was supposed to get home. She's afraid her parents would be angry. And when she came into her house, it was 15 minutes. She'd been gone like an hour and a half. But when she came to the house and looked at the clock, it was 15 minutes before she left. Okay. So, yeah. And I wish I had that video. It was real interesting. And she was quite believable. So if you're dealing with it, let's just say, hypothetically, there are beings, they're not angels, they're not demons. They're just some guys that are so technologically advanced with understanding of, non-Newtonian physics, they're way beyond that. They can manipulate time and space. That's why you can't, they could clean up if something happened and jack around with things to make it'd be impossible to ever get your hands on one. That's what Neil deGrasse Tyson keeps talking about. Well, we've got in Bill Nye, we don't have one to examine, and we can't replicate, and we can't validate and test and yada yada. Well, good luck trying to do that if these guys can do anything like I've just described, which, based on my experiences, I think they can. I think they can distort time and space.
but Guy, they're 300,000 years more advanced, but they can't handle a thunderstorm, dude. And they still have lights on the outside of their craft.
I just said some of them aren't. It's not one kind of them. Some of them are 3,000 years ahead of us, possibly.
If you can travel out in space, you better be able to handle a damn thunderstorm on Earth, man.
But what if on their planet they don't have those?
Hey,
because it's kind of funny to me that triggered something to me too, because it's like all these movies, we got all these movies of aliens coming to Earth and all this stuff, and we even have signs where they're allergic to water. And they come to the water planet, 70% water. Like, that's crazy, right? But also, like, when in some of these, not the same movies, but in some of the same kind of movies, when we go places, we get disrupted by something as simple as a thunderstorm. Like in not Inception. What was the other one? Interstellar. Like in that one, like their ship basically crashed because of a thunderstorm on a foreign planet.
That was always a big question for me. Like with Roswell, I was like, okay, so they can get here from another Zeta Reticuli, and to be honest, I believe Roswell was the crash of an alien ship, because there's just so damned many people who say they saw it, and it's like I was sitting there thinking, how do you expect people to believe you and Michelle and me if you can go online and listen to person after person after person after person after person that was involved in the Roswell cleanup and stuff, the mortician, the people in the town, was everybody colluded? Yeah. Everybody got together and just lied for no reason. Most of them didn't write books or anything. I mean,
and to this day they are rating people that live there Like literally, we talked about that recently. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm telling you,
it's crazy.
me and Michelle, we're being honest, right? But all these other people want to assassinate their characters for no gain. I don't think so. I mean, there's a few lunatics. There are some people that just want to think maybe they'll get some attention and maybe they get psychiatric problems. But I think it's a small percentage of people. I think the overwhelming majority of people, they may misidentify something. But in cases like Roswell, where everybody in the town says, look, we're the base intelligence, that
Yeah.
intelligence officer says, listen, this wasn't from this planet. I mean, what they're all wrong, they're all lying. I mean, come on. That just on the face of it is just
Well,
a preposterous idea to me.
well, on that note, Guy, first of all, I got to thank Rick, Johnny, and Barry. They're having a good old time on in chat, having a great conversation, which has kind of led us into this little chat we've been having. And Barry said something very interesting that I'm very fascinated with, and it's maybe we share a DNA memory, and that has pretty much been proven. Instead of saying,
that's a good point.
Instead of saying like DNA memory or housing memory in our DNA has been shown to like transfer trauma from generation to generation. And I would almost call it, that's what instinct is. That's why a deer, phobias, all of that.
Yeah.
That's why like a baby deer, a fawn, can be born and within a couple minutes be up and walking. Who taught it that?
No.
Birds to
Birds
migrate.
to fly.
Migration.
Migration, all of that.
That's pretty amazing.
Right? It's shared genetic memory. But we call it instinct, and that seems to, put it into a frame again that we can understand. Now, Guy said a lot because Guy always says a lot.
I know,
but
dangerous guy.
but
I wouldn't. If I had a podcast, I would not invite me. I'd be like, that guy. I don't know what's wrong with you people.
Guy would have the easiest podcast to be on as a guest because you would never talk. It would just be it'd be the Guy show, the Guy Merritt show.
Well,
that's oftentimes
I feel strongly about some of this stuff, and I've had a lot of crazy experiences. And
absolutely, man.
I'm an emotional kind of guy, man, and like when I feel strongly about something, I have to. I gotta.
No, I like your points, man. I like all your points, and I'm playing devil's advocate when I'm like talking about, well, why do UFOs have lights on them?
I think
like maybe that's part of the propulsion.
I think you're a demon.
No, you think I'm a demon?
I think you're a demon.
I've been called that before.
No, I think you're a lovely guy. And
so, if like I see people talking here about military lies and deceit, Area 51, there's so many layers of that how can we ever really know the truth except what we've gone through, right? And so I've been thinking more or less, forget about disclosure. Can we just get closure, right? Can we just right? Can we please? Because everybody knows the genie's out of the bottle, and those of us that have had experiences and people that maybe not have had experiences but are interested in this stuff follow it and know what's going on. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can erase everything off the internet, but people like us will not forget. Okay, so that just blows my mind that they're doing that. But before we end this for tonight, Michelle, what was some of your favorite from the this year?
I think one of my favorites was the conversation that you had with Jack before we even went live.
That's top secret, man. You
can't the fact that the two of them play Microsoft Flight Simulator.
You don't play Flight Simulator.
You are Microsoft Flight Simulator. But both of them,
it's
like,
a simulator.
if they're planning on taking a trip, they both do the same thing. They will actually play or they'll become the game.
They'll fly
and take off from the closest airport and actually fly the route.
Wait, so So they play it together?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
but they do the same thing. So let's
Okay.
just say that like
Okay.
Wayne and I are flying into Bullhead City, Arizona. He will hop in his Cessna or whatever it is,
A Cessna, really?
whatever plane he picks.
I almost
he
bought
will-
some land in Bullhead City. I'm not kidding. I almost bought a lot in Bullhead. It's right across the street from what's
And
that
he
town?
will fly. He will fly the route, landing in Bullhead. That the plane that we're actually
Yep.
taking
Because you know
will
what?
fly. And
If-
Jack does the same thing.
If that flight crew in that Airbus 320 gets incapacitated and they need somebody to fly that plane, I can do it. I know the routes.
Are you a pilot, Wayne? Because you
I-
posted.
I was a general aviation pilot.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So I flew small Cessnas and things like that. But yeah,
That's cool,
she's
man.
sitting here making it sound all funny and stuff. But
I just find
literally-
it fascinating that there's somebody else out there that does.
there's a
same
lot of
thing.
people out there that do
There
this.
are. There are.
Yeah,
it's
I
a-
used to install a
simulation.
simulator in 2001 and play it all the time.
and it's real time.
Yeah.
So like if you're flying
If
if
it-
you're flying from Michigan to
Las Vegas.
It
no,
takes
no,
like 4 hours. or
God
more.
damn it. What's that? Australia. If you're flying from Michigan to Australia, you're sitting there for 24 hours.
Well, you can get up and walk away.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you can pause and go to the bathroom.
He'll
but-
put it on autopilot and let it fly itself for a little bit.
Okay, so there you go. There's the modern technology of today that we can take a plane that's thousands of tons, fill it with 480 people. The damn things can fly themselves. Okay, they can land in an emergency situation. Most airliners now can
Yeah.
land themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And once they're above 1,000 feet after they take off, the pilots push the autopilot button, set the
Go on.
course. The computers and GPS all are programmed with the routes and what they're supposed to do. And the pilots basically are just monitoring
Chill.
what the computers are doing in the plane with 500 people on board going from Michigan to Australia in a whole day and fly that long without landing. Now, tell me that's not paranormal UFO
It-
technology or
look,
something.
It's seriously like
Right?
the first time I ever flew over an ocean was like was the year before pandemic. 2019 was the first time I ever flew over an ocean, and that freaked me out. Like I was like, we're just over the ocean, right? It was mind-boggling.
7
to me. And
miles
ever
high.
since then I've been and ever since then I've been thinking about exactly what you just said and how it actually works. It's I don't know if it's paranormal or supernatural, but it is one of the two for sure.
Well,
Or if not both.
so think about this with modern day aircraft like the big A380, okay, the Airbus 380 that is a double decker 4-engine airliner. Okay, that thing,
Or engine?
yeah. It's like a 747, but it's more modern, right? And that thing is a double decker. It holds like 600 people, okay, and it can fly at almost the speed of sound, 7 miles above the air. But get this. Now, when you drive your car and when you fly the older airplanes, especially general aviation airplanes, when you turn the yoke or the wheel in your car, it's
Mhm.
connected to like a drive shaft,
Mhm.
right? Or a steering column, right? And that goes to your steering box or whatever.
It's
and you got power,
mechanical. Yeah,
right?
you're talking about fly by wire. I mean,
But yeah, we have fly by wire now. And what that is that there are no connectors to the controls
it's
in that
weird, man.
cockpit.
yeah.
It's all the computer registers where you move that control stick and sends the input via wire, like electronic signal
Right.
to the control surfaces on the plane. There are no wires connecting, no control wires or anything like that
There's
connected
no
to.
cables, which there were.
Yeah, no cables. Thank you. There are no control cables connected to these modern aircraft. That's why, like the B-2 bomber, the F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter, these are all fly by wire, and that's what it means. You're flying by electrical signal through a wire, not a cable, to a surface on the wing. And if you pull back, then it's going to go in one part of the craft is going to do this. And most of this stuff, like the F-117, it cannot fly without that computer. It's so unaerodynamical that if it didn't have the computer making the constant calculations on the flight, on the frame, on the control surfaces, it wouldn't even get off the ground.
Of course, the danger in that is the 767 MAX and the ACAS system, which was a system that they put in it because they moved the engines and it changed the center of gravity in the plane, and they were afraid that it would tend to go nose down, so that they partner nose up. And if the software goes bad, it kept pushing the nose of the plane down. That's how they all died. It's kind of what freaks me out about it. I kind of like the fly by wire, where these cables going to the, it's kind of freaky to me.
It is freaky.
Flying alone is freaky to me. So yeah.
I'm afraid. And when I was a kid, I saved my money. And forced my dad was afraid to fly. When I was 12, I forced him to take me out to Bishop Airport, and I paid a guy to fly me around Flint. And
oh no, just like a fly around it.
Yeah, it was. Oh man,
that's
cool.
Blast.
I was in love with
it. I was in Flint last night. That's awesome.
When I was 15, I went to the fair and paid a guy to fly me around a little whirlybird helicopter. And then I had a couple of really turbulent flights when I was a musician. Went through a real bad thunderstorm coming into Flint one time in a DC-10. Detroit Metro. And I mean, it was so bad that when we saw the ground, 94 was right there, and everybody broke into applause. Yeah, for real. That plane was bouncing around. In fact, we had to we started to land and we go around again with all these, and I developed this horrible phobia of it. Now I just won't fly. And I mean, I was in love with it, and it just got worse and worse and worse. I don't know what caused it. Now I just won't fly at all. So I don't know.
That's actually kind of weird, because when I was younger, I had zero fear of heights at all, and now I'll still ride a roller coaster, but planes freak me out and edges freak me out.
Yeah,
like really bad. Yeah.
All right, just real quick, I want to address this from Barry. He says, Wayne and Guy, and I'm going to say Burton as well, please check out the Upper Michigan Ancient site. They have a meeting and they're really trying to get their story out.
No, what is
email us.
Site? Yeah.
I actually screenshotted an earlier conversation. He said, the name is Randy BEE, Randy B. And it's called Upper Michigan Ancient Conservatory. And they have a meeting, and he said it was something about the younger dryas in old copper mines in northern Michigan.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. I screenshotted it so I would be able to find it. Yeah. No. So thank you, Barry.
Thanks, Barry. Absolutely. Learning more about what was going on here in Michigan is definitely on that list of things to do, but I'm kind of getting wrangled into some bigger like world things as well.
Well, it would be really as a fan, it would be really awesome to hear some of that stuff, because that's one of the reasons when we talked about the the Graham Hancock show on Netflix, Ancient Apocalypse. One of the things that stuck out to me was the Snake Mound in Ohio. I was like, that's close.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
Yeah,
like, seen that.
That could be a road trip, Burton.
That
could be a quick road trip, man.
That would be awesome.
Archaeology stuff is fascinating.
It's awesome, yeah.
But I've never heard any Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson, and in the documentary, I've never heard anybody mention anything about Michigan, when I feel like we were a big part of that glacier movement and all that stuff. There had to have been something, right? And I've never heard anybody. Maybe there haven't been any discoveries. I don't know, but like I feel like there might be something here that we don't know. We have these lakes. What if there's something on the bottom of the lake?
Well, one of the things so obviously there's the Michigan Stonehenge that they found off the
Yes.
coast of northern Michigan there. And by
Underwater,
northern, I
right?
mean it's off of the coast of Traverse City somewhere.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in there.
and it's underwater.
Yeah, it's underwater now. It's a circular thing of rocks, and this is where they think they found the rock that, and it could be pareidolia, but it's the mastodon or the woolly mammoth or something like that. Snake tattoo. Yeah, Snake Mountain. Yeah,
Oh,
that's cool.
Oh,
Um,
that's sick.
that's wild, man.
Nice, Johnny.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that's something. And Burton, to your point, I do know that there is some investigations going on and people talking. And I was going to talk to Randall Carlson about this because he brought it up. Is that Saginaw Bay, where, our lovely little thumb here, right in there,
Mm-hmm.
that may be a very large impact crater.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So it's doing the research and getting teams out there to actually look for like the nano diamonds and things like that would indicate a high powered impact, because that's like what they think the California bays, right? The all those little, or Carolina bays, I'm sorry, the Carolina
oh.
bays
Okay.
were
I know what
impact sites because they're all oriented in toward the same direction as if something came from space and nailed the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they think they were huge chunks of ice. And there has been a guy from the glacier, and there has been a guy out there that has proven that large enough chunks of ice could survive low Earth orbit and come back down, strike the Earth, and then melt, creating those little Carolina bays. It's pot marked lakes all over Carolina, and they call them the Carolina Bays, and they don't know really how they got there. The general narrative is bullshit, but
every single thing from space coming into Earth has ice on it. Why wouldn't it be possible for something to have enough on it, or to be a big enough chunk of ice?
Because it was ejected from the Earth up into orbit and back down. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought.
So
you
this
meant
guy
like
ran some models.
All
Yeah.
right.
So this guy ran some
All right.
models and used some really high heat stuff on these chunks of ice that he created that would have kind of been, large packed snow.
Well,
And
why would it get ejected though? Does he say why?
get ejected?
Yeah.
Because
Why?
of the
Why would it-
impact of the pieces of the comet into the ice sheet.
Oh, so it was a. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
when the
Yeah.
pieces of the comet hit the ice sheet, it threw up into the atmosphere chunks of ice, like huge.
Yes. Yes.
And as the
And then-
Earth turned and these things were coming back down, they crashed into the Carolina, North Carolina, South Carolina, and created the Carolina Bays. Yeah.
Why is that a crazy thought? See, that's what I don't
Oh
get.
no,
about
no,
this.
no! They're artesian water wells that came up to the surface. That's the that's the narrative right now. So,
Well,
all right,
well,
before we gotta go, Michelle, was there anything else you wanted to tease me about on these podcasts that we've done this last year?
No,
Or-
the flight simulator was enough. However, I'm still looking forward to our friend Gemma getting back to me with the research that she was doing
Oh, for your friend?
on
Yeah.
that curse.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Gemma,
You need to text
fan
her
favorite.
about that.
yeah,
I just want to say, get this in before we sign off or something.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me about it. I don't know anything.
Stop
No, I
it.
mean that sincerely. I mean,
Your
my
opinion is as valid as anybody else's, man.
well, but that's it. I want to underscore. Sometimes I state things. I'm kind of strident, and I state them authoritatively and not meaning to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about everything. Seriously, I'm not kidding.
I do the same. I feel the same way about things I say sometimes. So I completely understand and respect that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I know sometimes
Jeez,
I'll-
guy,
I'll
you're
make
only
an argument.
human.
What's that?
You're only human.
Well, I just mean, sometimes I say things pretty, I'm pretty assertive and I'm all charged up and kind of emotional, and I've got some hot button topics, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
And you have a great voice. So when people hear things coming from a voice like yours, it's a little.
Hey, imagine if he had a British accent.
No,
He'd
I was
be
the voice
famous.
of WFJC, Flint Community Junior College.
Really?
Yeah, I really was.
That's awesome.
I was a DJ. Hey, it's 110, and got something here. We only had like 14 albums. It was this like a radio station for students. You know, they had like there was a Frank Zappa album. They had a Beethoven. It was this weird mix of crap. You couldn't get it out of the parking lot, right? But yeah. But WJC, the radio voice of Flint Community Junior College. You're listening to Guy Merton. You probably shouldn't be, because he's going to tell you there aren't any demons. And he's correcting your whole theology. So,
That's awesome.
You just made Nathaniel Gillis just burn all of his
he's the
Bibles.
one, and I mean, I'm not saying this just to be a nice guy. He seemed like a really nice guy. I
He
just
is.
disagree with him. That's all.
Yeah. And you know what? That's okay, man. We're allowed to disagree. I mean, that's the way it is, because until we have these things walking around and everybody's seeing them and things flying around, right? And we got not
I don't know
flying triangles or whatever. Okay?
I would start with the most logical thing, which is
yes,
sentient beings that grew up on a planet evolved out of different, before us or whatever. That would seem like where you'd start with this and then go from there.
but damn it, Guy, I'm gonna go back to what you started this whole conversation with back at the beginning of this 2 hours ago, man. It is a human genetic brain thing that we do to deal with the trauma. He sees a demon or a spirit or some kind of creature sucking out a soul. We would see a little green man, or what about the praying mantis creatures?
Dozens and dozens. I mean, not dozens, thousands of people.
Konkoleski. When we talk to
Swear
Konkoleski,
that they've been abducted, say that they exist. And the problem I've got is I've got friends. I've got friends that tell me they've seen these things, and I mean, they're people I know. And it's like I'm in a group with a bunch of people. It's a small group. It's less than 200 people. And most of those people have seen really weird beings, have had great grays in their rooms and been presented, but it's crazy. And
or is that what they make you see?
Well, yeah, that's
right?
possible. But the point is that these are intelligent people who've had some kind of experiences, and you've got to go, where does this come from? And either you believe, it just seems like it's some advanced race of beings from somewhere. I don't know. That's it. It's all I've got. It's just,
the best
guys,
thing.
it's some folks from elsewhere, I think.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The best way to keep people confused and guessing is to change your appearance constantly and make us think that we're seeing something that makes sense.
They do that. Yeah. And there's a lot that's heavily documented too. A lot of people said, there's a gal, one of the Zimbabwe gals, the one, she's kind of demure and she's a pretty gal. She's the one who's the artist, and she's an adult now. And there's a very brief video of her on YouTube in which she's interviewed at some conference, and they said, have you ever seen that being again? And she said, well, I don't know if it was that being, but I have seen them again. And she said, sometimes they'll appear to you as an animal that you like if you like lions, it will appear as a friendly lion. And I believe they can do that because I'm a dope. I've had these insane things happen to me, and I'm not a freaking liar, man. I don't need stories.
Yeah,
I've told you my background with music. I've met Aretha, and I've met Muhammad Ali and his dad, and all kinds of people. I don't need a story about spaceships and aliens, man. This is like the worst thing on a freaking planet you could dream up as a this is going to impress you story. No, this is gonna say
you're not picking up any chicks with this.
Yeah, exactly. Again, yeah. Hey, baby, I'm a Navy SEAL. I played minor league baseball. No, those are cool stories. My friends got abducted by aliens, and I was frozen in a blue light, and yada yada. Who's gonna make this up? Come on, nobody's gonna do that. Not nobody, but damn near nobody, because it would take an insane human being to think this is going to benefit me somehow. It doesn't. Of course it doesn't. Well, who needs attention that bad? And if you do, that's not the story you're going to pick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, just real
Actually, yeah.
quick, going to what Rick said here, and we're gonna wrap this up because it's we've been going 2 hours and 16 minutes. I should have planned on just doing like 3 hours, doing a season in review and then fighting with
we should
Guy.
do like what is it? What the Turner Broadcast does with that Christmas story, 24 hours.
24 a 24-hour live stream.
I'll get a caffeine.
We'll
drip
all be
and a
seeing
carton of
aliens.
cigarettes, and we'll just I'll get an IV in my arm with caffeine and a carton of cigarettes. And we'll just do this for like 24 hours till we all pass out.
Well, let's lastly, let's look at what Rick says. He says it is us from the first dimension. Now,
Maybe
that goes to like what Jared was saying, right? Jared Murphy. It's not aliens worse. It's us. It's like a leftover technology that's been here since 76,000 years ago, and the eruption of Mount Toba that nearly eradicated all humans, and Terra Preta. And maybe you are accidentally standing on some of that Terra Preta, or maybe like a church or a cemetery is built on some of that soil. You go there, the next thing you know, you've got some kind of latent ability that's been turned on to see things or to hear things because of that soil and what's left. It's really fast. He's got some great stuff, but I'm going to leave that to let people go and listen to those episodes, or come back and watch the digging up the past and digging up the dirt with Jared Murphy that we did, go back. But all right, we're going to get this wrapped up here, guys. So Guy, want to thank you for joining us. Burton, again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys. I can't thank you guys enough.
So I'm going to go ahead and send you guys back to the green room here. Hold on. Shoom. Shoom. All right. Michelle, year 2, down the drain. It's over.
It's been a great year.
What are we doing for year 3?
Well, I don't know. With
We'll
you
see.
going to the Cosmic Summit, there's some things that I'm interested in looking into, but I'm going to keep that a secret for right now.
Yeah, and I've wanted to look more at stuff in Michigan here, and we've got some amazing stuff that's going on here that we need to see about getting some people on that might already be investigating it, and that would be
start doing some road trips.
Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? We definitely got to get down to Serpent Mound. That's been down in Ohio.
We're gonna
always
have to,
been on my list.
We're gonna have to grab Burton and take him with us.
Yeah, road trip, absolutely. All right, Michelle. I know we're leaving all kinds of things out, but just to let everybody. Oh, thanks, Ian. Great show. Thanks. Yes.
Well, everyone have a great holiday.
Yep.
See you next year.
Merry
literally.
Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Whatever it is. Enjoy the holidays. And if you got a story you'd like to tell, by the way, make sure you email us. There's our email right there, mi.ufo.podcast@gmail.com. And Johnny, thanks for joining us, man. It was awesome. And glad you could join us all the way from New Zealand. Ian, Rick, obviously Rick is here quite a bit. Barry's here quite a bit. So thank you guys very much for joining us. And I'm going to send Michelle to the back here and just tell everybody, thank you very much. It's been a great year. Be looking for more of these live streams coming up in January, more podcasts coming out for the new year. And remember, keep those eyes to that sky. Let's go.